All right, and I think we might be live. We might be live. Check. We are trying. All right. And we are going live in 3, 2. Oh, shoot. All right, we are live. What is going on, everybody? I forgot to add a title to this, so I will edit that and do that after. Let me see if I can tweak that while we are talking. So when you are trying to scale up your acquisitions, you gotta mess with KPIs. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm fumbling here a bit. Just trying to make sure we are live. All right, we got somebody live here with us. If you are live with us, go ahead and let me know in the chat. Give me what's up. Good morning. Let me know what's up, Ben. Let's go. Appreciate you, sir. Sweet guys. Well, hey, today we are going to be told, what's up, Kieran? He says, boom, you're committed. Man, I am trying. You're committed to the land biz, dude. I'm trying to make sure I am here for you. What is up, Yasir? Good to see you, brother. Appreciate you popping on. We are talking KPIs today. So if you are somebody that has ever, all right, guys, got it all posted. We are here now. I am present. All right. So if you are somebody who has ever wondered, hey, what is my team doing all day? How do I make sure they're getting results? What activities do we need to be focused on? That's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. And we're going to do that through numbers. I feel like people really, really resonate with numbers. And so here are the numbers to focus on. Here's what they are. So I'm just going to share my screen and show you guys basically what we're looking at today. I will do a little bit of Q&A at the end if you guys stick around. I can see the comments in Facebook. So if you have them throughout, go ahead and drop them and I'll keep an eye out. All right. But with that, I just want to walk through, let's talk KPIs. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, guys. I'm going to show you just a quick Word doc here of a KPIs breakdown. Just a quick Word doc here of a KPIs breakdown. All right. Who's this for? Guys, if you're spending more money and getting the same results, you ever feel like that? You're spending money on marketing and you're just not getting the results that you want. Okay. So if that's you, this training's for you. If you don't know what your team's doing all day, right? We talked about that. Jason said, look at that gym pump. Appreciate you, brother. And if you can't figure out why you aren't getting more deals, even though you feel like you're getting better as an investor, you're more sophisticated, you know what you're doing, you've been doing this for a while. I think this will be really good for you. Again, KPIs is one of those things where it's fundamentals. It brings you back and you're able to see what it is you need to be focused on, what your team needs to be focused on, etc. So let's dive in. I'm going to breeze past these because I've talked about these a lot in the past, and I want to make sure we get into some meat with some KPIs and how this stuff plays in, which we will get into on another slide. I got a little spreadsheet for you guys if you stay till the end, okay? So let's keep going here on leads. Guys, first metric I would be tracking is leads, which is new leads entering the pipeline. So simple, so simple, right? But just if you're texting, cold calling, PPC, PPL, direct mail, I don't care. When a lead enters your pipeline, it is a lead. Standardize that definition across all your different marketing channels. Get it in, get her done. All right. Next, we're going to get to net leads, which you only don't make it to net leads if two things happen. Number one, because the property is not a property you want to buy. And number two, you can't get a hold of the seller, right? So you can do business with a property, you can do business with a seller. I need to wanna or be able to do business with both in order for this to make sense, all right? Number three then is offers made. If you've been listening to me for any amount of time, you know this is one of the biggest things I push people to do. If you're a newer investor, people will pay a cold calling provider or pay for a service. You get things rolling, and then you just don't make offers on your properties. You might comp them, you might do all types of things. But if you make offers, you buy deals. It's that simple. You just need to make enough of them, right? I've never bought a property I didn't make an offer on. So you got to make offers on your properties. So your acquisitions manager, whoever actually asks the question of if they'd take a number, right? Next, you've got your actual verbal offers accepted. So your sellers that agree to a price on the phone. Yes, I would do that. No, I would not. Screw you. Okay. And then you have your actual contracts signed, your sellers signing a contract, and you might track deals completed. We can talk a little bit about this at the end, but okay. I just needed to breeze past that because I know a lot of you guys are more advanced. I want to talk about the relationships between each one of these and how they tell a story. Okay. So first we've got our leads to our net leads. I would say you need to be at a baseline of 60%, but I know a lot of people that have actually done way better than this. I mean, sometimes we were over 100 with our net leads just because you would hit up old leads and follow up, and maybe the leads came in a little bit slower one week because it's election week or the holidays or whatever, right? Things that would cause you to be below this, things I'd be looking for: a bad relationship here, a bad baseline, a bad relationship between leads and net leads can either signal bad lead management. So are you triple dialing your leads? Are you hitting them quickly? Are you talking to your sellers, right? Are you booking appointments? Or just bad data, top of funnel. Maybe you've got, the best lead management process ever, but the leads that are coming in are poo-poo. This happened to us when we were running a bunch of Facebook ads. I remember Ben and we kept trying to figure out why we weren't getting results. And at the end of the day, we just had bad leads coming in because we had bad properties coming in top of funnel at some point. So we killed that marketing channel because we didn't want to figure out that problem. It all works. We got deals from it. Don't get me wrong. Every marketing channel will produce deals. But at the end of the day, if your top of funnel is bad, man, it makes things annoying for you and your team. All right. So next you have your net leads to offers made. I would say really try to get 70%, 60 at the absolute lowest, but a bad relationship here can either signal, again, bad lead management, right? You're not talking to your sellers quickly when you get to the acquisition manager call. So we're talking the next set of call. I teach a 2-call close. If you have questions about that, let me know in the comments. But, we teach a 2-call close. So either bad lead management to get back on the phone, you're not setting appointments, you're not doing the things you need to be doing, or you're not actually making the offers when you speak to your sellers. So guys, if you're new here, if you're a new investor, if you don't do anything in terms of tracking your metrics, please, please, please just track the offers you make every single day. I promise you, increase that number, you will get more contracts. It's that simple. All right. Next, I want to talk through when your relationship between offers made and verbal offers accepted. Offers made and verbal offers accepted. Okay. Okay, guys, there are a lot of variables here. So I always want to be careful setting baselines. Okay. You're going to get different conversions based on marketing channels, based on price point, right? What price point property are you pursuing? Somebody targeting 5K lots is going to get a very different conversion than somebody targeting a 300K lot. Okay. Timeline. Are you only buying properties, in 21 to 30 days, or are you doing some double closings, maybe 120, 180 days? Are you only doing double closings, right? Timeline can really affect your closing rate. And then your closing skills, obviously. Are you good on the phones? Are you following a process? Are you building good relationships with your sellers, et cetera, et cetera? Okay, so like I said, bad relationship here can signal poor sales skills or bad comping. This is something I see every now and then. It's less common, but for people that are just having to go back and redo contracts, cancel contracts, or just not making offers that are getting accepted, it's because they're comping too low. Maybe it's worth 95, 100 grand, and they're so conservative, they're guessing 80, and then you go 35 to 50 cents on the dollar there, and now you're offering them 29K on a 100K lot because you were too conservative, right? So you got to be careful with your comps here. But those are some things I see. If you're doing just flips, and when I say flips, I mean buying at 50 cents on the dollar or less, I see closing rates between 3 and 7%. Obviously, you want to be on the upper end of that if you can be. With double closings, gosh, it's such a range, guys. It's such a range. When we were doing direct mail, we had a closing rate at one point of 27 or 28%. My buddy Dennis, I think gets up to 33% on some of his blind offer campaigns. But when we're doing cold SMS, when we're doing cold calling, we see closer to that 10% line is what I'll say, standard deviation of about 2. And if you're really good in doing double closings, then that can go way up. Okay. So there's a lot of variables there. So I always want to be careful talking through numbers. But that's what you're getting when you're, making offers on the phone to how many sellers are actually telling you, yeah, I would take that. Next, you've got your verbal offers accepted to your contract signed. Okay, so how many people say yes and then actually sign the contract? Guys, let me know in the chat. Have you ever had a seller say yes to you and then ghost you? Let me know in the chat if you've ever gotten that before. Give me a yes, give me an ugh, give me a something. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody, so it might have just been me, the only person that's ever been ghosted by my sellers. Okay, Kieran said all the time. Kieran, that should not be all the time. We need to have a conversation about sales process. I'm teasing you, my friend. But okay, so if we're having that happen, it typically means it's a bad relationship here, bad sales process, poor expectations. Sometimes we don't actually work through the objections and we think it's a verbal and it's not. I would need to listen to your calls to figure out if that's what's happening. Jeremy said, no one abandons me. That's hilarious. Which is also why we try to go over as many agreements live as possible, right? So in your sales process, you would be having a conversation with your seller. Ideally, early in the conversation, you ask them if they're going to be near a computer, if they'd be able to, review stuff. You walk them through the process, get them to open DocuSign, walk them through the contract, walk them through signing. Boom. I was talking to my team about this earlier today, and I know I'm talking really fast here, guys. I'm just excited. I love this stuff. But I was talking to my team earlier today, and we all agreed on something. We said, our sellers are people. And can we all agree it is easier for people to do nothing than it is for them to do something? I'm going to say that again. Can we all agree that it is easier for people to do nothing than it is to do something, right? Drop a yes in the chat if you agree with that. Now, the premise here is because it is easier to do nothing, we as salespeople need to help people make decisions. Okay. That's what we do as salespeople is we help people make decisions. And sometimes they want to work with us. Sometimes they're okay signing the contract. Sometimes they don't have objections. They just don't do it, or they don't want to think through it. Or they have this question about the assignment and marketing clause and feel weird asking you. Like, how we as humans sometimes get uncomfortable talking about certain things with our sellers, like timelines and closing dates and that sort of thing. Even though it's just fundamental stuff, our sellers also have things that are uncomfortable for them. Like they might not want to admit they don't understand something. And rather than tell us that, they're just going to avoid the conversation altogether. Right. And so there's all these little reasons why a seller might not sign the contract, or it's a hidden objection. Right. And so that's why we just try to go over those agreements together in case there are hidden objections, sellers change their mind, things happen. We just want to limit that as much as possible. So I say baseline here, 80%. When most people don't follow our sales process, I see people getting closer to like 50% on this, which sucks. You get, 5 verbals in a month and you're only going to sign 2 or 3 contracts. That blows. And then last is contracts signed and deals closed. And people don't talk about this relationship enough. I see a range here. I said for double closings, we see about 60% on the higher end. And for flips, we see about 80. I think you're never really going to hit 100 unless you just overanalyze everything before you get your contracts. At the end of the day, some stuff's going to have title issues that are just either not profitable to solve or just really, really difficult. Some properties are just going to be poo-poo properties you don't actually want to buy, and the prices don't make sense once you find out stuff in due diligence. So it's never going to be 100. But, and then of course you might not find buyers on your double closes, which is where I think, on our team, we were between 60 and 65% of our double closings we would actually close. I talked to my buddy Ajay Sharma, who's a lot smarter than me and does a lot more deals than me and has a lot more experience than me. And I think his was closer to 70 or 75. So I would say that's kind of the gold standard there of what you can hit double closing, which means if he's buying stuff at flip prices, it's probably even higher. But there's always going to be about 20%, I would say, that just fall out because of title and property issues. Now, I already talked about this, right? But a bad relationship here while double closing might mean bad dispo, could also mean bad data, top of funnel, could also be bad comps, right? We get a contract signed, we find out the comps are wrong. We get a contract signed, turns out the property's poo-poo and we should have scrubbed it ahead of time. Or we just suck at dispo and we couldn't find a buyer on a double close. Could be any of these, right? So audit all 3 of those if you're at rates below this on double closes. And then a bad relationship here while flipping is either just going to be bad data, top of funnel, or bad comps, essentially. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat yet, so do let me know if you guys have questions. I know we've got about 10 online with us right now, which is sick. It's a Tuesday afternoon at 4:00 and people are on. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I want to share this KPI sheet that I completely ripped off of my buddy Chandler. If any of you know Chandler Sane, he is amazing when it comes to just all things scaling. This guy is a savage. If you, I literally have it in an asterisk on this sheet here that I learned from Chandler. So anyways, love that guy. Follow him on YouTube, Chandler Sane. But yeah, I totally stole this off of him and just tweaked it to make more sense for me. Also, I hope I'm not frozen here. But okay, sweet. So I just want to run through some numbers here so you guys can see what it takes to actually get some deals done. And here, I'm just going to delete some of these numbers. Okay, well, that one kind of messed up a lot of it here. But I'm just going to start by deleting these percentages. So guys, these are the KPIs we talked about. Can you guys can see the KPIs sheet, right? I want to make sure I'm not seeing it in the live actually. Hang on. Let's see. It might just be a little delayed there. Apologies, guys. Let me try to share again. Boom. Okay. I think, oh shoot, it was sharing. Okay. Well then I'm sorry for that temporary pause, guys. Okay, sweet. I'm going to zoom in even more this time. Okay. So we've got same, variables we talked about earlier, same KPIs, leads, net leads, offers made, verbal offers accepted, contract signed, how many deals we actually sold, average deal size, what's your margin on that HUD to HUD, and then your revenue, right? What you actually make. So I'm throwing up some fictitious numbers here, right? But I started these with about 300 leads in January, February, and March. So if you were earlier on in your career and you had 300 leads is a lot for some people. I think I could tweak this to be more realistic for some, but I'm going to keep the numbers here just for good example's sake. Somebody might have 300 leads and only talk to 180 of them, either because they can't get on the phone with them, or it's okay. Bruce, I did zoom in, so hopefully it's bigger now, man. Sweet. Okay, thanks, Kieran. Thanks, Jordan. Sweet. Okay, sorry, I'm just catching up in the comments here. And it does look like it's just a little behind on the live, which is messing with me as I'm looking up. So sorry, guys, if I don't see stuff until about 2 minutes later. I think there's a 2-minute delay in how I'm talking and what's going on as I'm looking. Okay, so anyways, we've got 300 leads here. Let's say you only talk to about 60% of them, or there's some that are bad because of top of funnel stuff. Okay. We get to 180 leads we actually talk to and want to do business with. Now we need to call our leads to make offers. Well, let's say we either don't make the offer, or maybe the asking price is too high, so we just don't do anything with the lead, or gosh, so many other things. We don't set appointments, so we're not giving the sellers opportunities to pick up, right? So this is about 40%. I see this a lot. I know this looks really low, but it's true, unfortunately. And then I see about a 5% close rate, especially for beginners, as long as you make the offer. So 1 in 20 leads, give or take, especially if you're doing some double closings. And then, so out of these numbers, if you make 72 offers in a month at a 5%, verbal acceptance rate, you're going to get about 4 yeses. 60% of those saying yes. I've got it rounding up here in the Excel function. But you'll get 3 contracts signed. Of that, you're going to have some fallout, like I said, in title work. Maybe you get 2 deals sold. Your average deal is 15 grand. Boom, you make 30 grand. That sucks. Okay. So if you install all the stuff we talk about here, right? All the stuff I've talked about in podcasts, all the training I'm putting together, right? And let's say we get our net leads up to, honestly, for us guys, like it was consistently above 90. I'm going to say 85. I think if you're triple dialing, if you're following our lead management framework, if you're setting good appointments, if your top of funnel's not complete trash, like you should be able to get a good chunk of net leads. I think 85% is realistic once you've worked through a lot of kinks, right? After that, right, your net leads to offers made. Again, this should be a really high number. We do see some drop off though. Naturally, some people just ghost you no matter what, right? So I'm going to say 80 here, just for the example's sake. So now we've got about 200 left in terms of offers made, right? 204 offers made. That's way more offers. Yes, guys, you might need more staff to do this. You might need a lead manager and an acquisitions manager to be making, 40, 50 offers a week. It's a lot of time for somebody. But this is what it takes to scale the business. It's usually more output than people realize, right? And then let's say you get your closing rate. Again, if you're doing double closings, I would say you should have at least a 10% acceptance rate verbally. Okay. So verbal offers accepted. Now we start doing good process, getting contracts signed live, setting good appointments. Let's say we get 80 of those done. We're at 17 contracts. Let's say only 75% of those make it to the finish line, and we will round down on that. And if we're making, 15 grand a property, look how crazy this is. Again, I know there's a lot of work here. I know there's staff here. I know I'm oversimplifying a lot of this, but essentially, like, we could talk about a 6X with the same amount of leads. That's the stuff that drives me crazy in this business, is if you just take your existing lead flow, like I did with my buddy Andy Rouse, like, you can literally triple, quadruple, 5X what you're doing in terms of your contracts. All right. So there are a ton of assumptions going into this. I think more realistically, what I see with most investors is probably somewhere closer to like 80 leads top of funnel. And we all think we're going to make 100 grand a month getting 80 leads top of funnel, right? And maybe we're halfway decent at our getting to our net leads, and we do some scrubbing up top. Right now we got 60, and maybe we're okay getting, I think the average investor will make probably like 60% offers on that. So we're at 35%. But I will be honest with you guys, I think this closing rate here and this signing here are like really realistic. I think this is like an actual investor that's getting 1 to 2 deals a month. If you're stuck in that bucket, this is probably you. You probably just need to get better at closing, make more offers, and have more leads top of funnel, right? You do those things, and I think you're just going to get so much further, especially if you're getting your contract signed live. I mean, that's low-hanging fruit. It doesn't even show really in this example, the ratio here, because we're rounding up. But you could see if you're only doing like 80 leads a month, guys, it's so easy to only end up with 1 or 2 contracts a month. So easy. So easy. Now, again, if you're a lot better at closing, the stuff can change quick, right? So you can play with these numbers and figure out like what are your weak points here. But look, you see the difference even on a small scale with 80 leads. 75 to 85, 60 to 80, 5 to 10, 60 to 80, changes from 2 to 5, 1 to 3 deals closed, ends up being a $45,000 a month versus a $15,000 a month. Pretty big swing. Again, I am oversimplifying this, but the point I'm trying to make is there are all these relationships that nobody even talks about when it comes to KPIs between all this stuff. So I just wanted to go through this, break it down, and essentially show everybody what it is that we're looking at when I'm looking at scaling people's acquisitions, right? When we're looking at KPIs, when we're looking at how do we get better here, that's what we're focused on. So I tried to blitz through this in under 30 minutes. I get feedback sometimes that 60 minutes is just too long for people. So I tried to do a quick, 25, 30-minute lesson here. Let me know, what questions do you guys have in the chat? I want to be able to answer questions. Let's see. Jordan said we can see. Kieran said we can. Let me know what questions you guys have. All right, I'm not seeing any questions yet. I'll hang out for at least a minute before calling it here if you guys don't have questions. But I'd love to answer any from a KPIs perspective. And I understand that, like, when we're scaling this up, when I talk about going from 80 leads to 300, hey, like, yes, that also means we need to talk about hiring a lot of times. That also means we need to talk about training and culture and sales process. And there's a lot of stuff within that, right? So I'm oversimplifying this in a 25-minute Facebook Live. Bruce is asking, let's see. Did you cover the number of mailers? Bruce, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm really not a top of funnel guy. So I don't talk about specific marketing channels in my, it's so different depending on who you're mailing, what you're doing. Once a lead enters your pipeline, that's sort of my jam and my bread and butter. Kieran said the hard part with this KPI stuff is that you have different channels and it's hard to compare, and then different areas can have different KPIs. I guess it depends on your team and your averages. You're totally right, Kieran. So that's where it becomes really important to standardize what we call a lead so that we can look at everything. I'll be honest, man, we like to break out our conversions on different marketing channels if we can. So I want to, yeah, man, I know it's annoying because your team is you from an admin perspective on a lot of that stuff. But for your different marketing channels, I would try to break out as much of this as you can to see at least like what your leads, maybe net leads, like offers and verbals are. Cause I think after that, it doesn't really matter. But at least figuring out like how well are you converting that stuff through some of those channels? Cause I've seen some people where they have an issue on their team at the text message level of like, if I ask you as the business owner, hey dude, what constitutes a lead? When should you push it over to Pebble or Follow Up Boss or Lead Boss or whatever you're using? And the business owner gives me a different answer than a texting VA. That's a gap. That's an issue. Okay. So I would just try to define when it becomes a lead in the CRM and make sure all of your team is agreed upon there. Bruce asked, what's the difference between a lead and a net lead? So I know you got here late, Bruce. I will go over it again. So basically a lead is like a gross lead, like when it first enters that pipeline, whereas a net lead is either after, so it's after you've spoken to it, so basically a lead won't become a net lead for two reasons. Either you never get a hold of the seller or you disqualify the property. I think that's the best way to put it. So it's a qualified lead is what I would say. You got on the phone with them and you checked out the property, did your quick check, your floodplain, wetland, access, topography, maybe some comps, that sort of thing. But sweet. Guys, I am not seeing any other questions right now. Like I said, try to keep this under 30 minutes. Was this valuable? Again, I really like to focus on more of the sales stuff, the sales process, the sales training, but I got a lot of people that said they were interested in KPIs. So I wanted to, just wanted to break this down. If this was valuable, could you just tell me in the chat? I'm really trying to figure out what people are struggling with when scaling up their acquisitions, when trying to close more deals, because you have leads, then you've got closers, then you've got hiring and training. There's so many different ways we can go about this. So sweet. Appreciate it, Kieran. You got it, Brian. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great rest of your week. I'm going on a cruise this weekend. So if you reach out to me and I don't get back to you, I am enjoying the Caribbean, but I will be back next week and hopefully with some fun stuff to talk through. Bye, everybody. Thanks.